Hello, good afternoon. Welcome once again to Educational Matters. Oh, that reminds me, I don't think I got the caption properly. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, good afternoon if you are in the part of the world where it's afternoon. Good morning, where if you are in the part of the world where it's morning. Good evening if you are in the part of where it is good evening or good night. My name is Irene Ndidiuba, and this afternoon I'm here again to share something on education matters. Like I told you, every week I'm going to be bringing at least a topic, that's got to do with children, how they learn, how to support parents, to help their children to achieve their academic goals. And like I keep saying, a lot of times parents don't have that resource, the resources, tools, and sometimes the support, and you see them struggle. They're struggling with, helping their children. Sometimes some parents want to really help their children out, and sometimes they get teachers. You have home lesson teachers at home, and sometimes they also have having worked in school, so tired and all. So even trying to help you out is also another kettle of fish. So today, what am I going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about learning style. I don't know if you're joining me, just say hello to me. Just say hi. Let me see that you're there. Unfortunately, I didn't even announce this, that I'll be live, and all. So I'm going to be talking about learning style. Hello, Ede, Ebuka Obika. That's the king of voice, right? Okay, you're watching. So I'm going to be talking about learning styles. Now, like I told you, I'm an educator, and I see, children struggle through, and then their parents are struggling with them as well. And especially when it comes to homework, and this thing I'm teaching you today, you're going to also use it to apply, to help your child out even when they're doing homework. Now, there are different, let me even ask you, the parents, do you know your own learning style? Do you know how you learn? Because everybody has a way they learn. It could be a combination. Most times there's a combination of different styles of learning, but there's always a dominant one. So everybody has, this is the way they learn, this is how I learn. And for children it's no different. So I don't know if you, the parents, if you know how you learn, but you need to know how your children learn. And why do you need to know? You need to know how your children learn, because hi Ruth, you're welcome. You need to know how your children learn, because it's going to help you to help your child in achieving their academic goals. It's going to help you to also help the teacher in school. Now you say, why would you want to help the teacher in school? After all, the teacher is paid to teach your child. Now, for me, when my children go to a new school, especially in primary school, I want the new teacher to know that this is how my child learns. And let me tell you, a teacher has maybe like 25 children in the class. Before the teacher settles down to know how each child learns, I'm telling you, the term is over. So if you, the parents, know how your child learns, you're going to help the teacher. Be able to say, oh, at the beginning of the term, oh, my child is this kind of learner. So when you're doing your lesson activity, incorporate this, incorporate that. Welcome Mimido Achapa, incorporate this into the class, for him or her. And this is how you see the child thrive. And then you have given the teacher a head start, a heads up about how your child learns. So today we're going to be looking at the different types of learning style. There's usually three main learning styles that people really talk about, but there's a fourth one actually. But let's start with the main one people talk about: auditory learners. These are learners that learn by hearing. They are not necessarily into whether you write, whether what they are saying. No, they just, as you speak, they learn. As you're teaching, they are learning, because for them, it's what they are hearing. Auditory ears. Once there are children like that. My first daughter is like that. She's an auditory learner to a large extent, because I told you that it's a combination of different styles. But to a large extent, she's an auditory learner. You can be talking and then she's learning, she's speaking things. But there are children that are visual learners. These are children that they must see for them to understand. So you have to draw on the board, you have to bring charts, flip charts, you have to bring items to the classroom, or you have items at home to demonstrate, because they must see the thing. If they don't see it, they cannot understand it. So these are visual learners. And a lot of children, from my experience as a teacher, a lot of children fall into the visual learning category. A lot of children must see. Welcome, Favor Chinenye Zeribe, Okpala Oba. A lot of children must see. They must see for them to understand. And a lot, like I said, a lot of kids fall into this category. Then you have the kinesthetics learner. These are learners that learn with hands. Now, my son is a kinesthetic learner. He likes to learn with hands. They like to do. They're not just learning with hands. They like doing. They like doing activities. They like activity-based, lessons. So, are you saying that if a child loves activity-based lesson and the teacher is always talking, teaching auditory, just speaking and speaking, you will lose that child, very, because the attention span, of course, naturally, children's attention span is very low, and then when you're not getting their learning style, it's worse. Then there's a fourth one, it's called reading and writing. Reading and writing is also a learning style. There are some people that it's only when they read, they write, they understand it. I fall into that category. I love to, when I'm reading, I understand. That's why when school resumes and I go to library, once I just collect our course contents, I go to library, I sit down, I just pick the book, I start reading it, I start writing it. Even if no lecturer teaches me, I already understand it. So that's my learning style. That's my dominant learning style, reading and writing. Then my other learning style is actually auditory. When you speak, whether you demonstrate, you don't draw, I can't even be bothered. As a matter of fact, I'm not even really a visual person, I'm not that, big on visual. But auditory, reading and writing, you get me there. So now, parents, we have looked at these 4 learning styles. Look at your children. Begin to think about your child now. Where do you think your child falls into? Because if you don't know where your child falls into, you will keep struggling with that child academically. Let's take, for instance, a child who is a kinesthetic learner, likes to do, and then likes doing things, and then, you're trying to teach the child is not, you're frustrated, the child is frustrated. You sit down, Junior, you must finish this homework now. But you don't know that child is a doing child. Could it be that if you say, Junior, okay, by the time you write 1 to 20, get up, run around in a circle, come back and continue. You have given Junior some freedom. So he wants to do that 1 to 20, and then he gets up to run around in a circle because he's a doing child. That is his own learning style. That's how God created him. So he runs around in a circle or does one small activity. So, okay, go around, okay, use your bike, run around the estate, if you have a small estate, say run around the estate for like 5 minutes, you tell your help, go and watch why Junior runs around. So he uses his bicycle for 5 minutes and he comes back. Junior is refreshed to continue that homework. Even if you say 1 to 1, he's going to write it because you have actually struck something, understood his learning style, and you have incorporated his learning style in that your teaching activity. And the same goes for teachers. And I know this is difficult, very difficult. You can see the way I closed my eyes because I know what it's like to run a class of 25 children with different learning styles. I have 45 minutes to deliver, 35 minutes to deliver the lecture. Oh, it's not easy. But you see, I tell you, for teachers, that the teaching is not about you, the teacher. Education now is about the child. It's learner-centered. Now, you are looking at them, and you're asking yourself, how do you incorporate this, even in your class activity, There are certain times you say, okay, and that's why when you have taught something, for the doing child, you can say, okay, right now, we are going to use our hands to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that doing child, you're teaching the auditory is learning. You're teaching the visual by demonstrating. You're also catching the visual learner, the kinesthetic learner, because you're putting up your hand. 1, can you show me 1? I can see 1. I can see 2. Now, the doing child, for him, is about the activity, that doing activity, and then he's raising his hand. So you see that you have been able to integrate at least 3 learning styles in your classroom, delivery. You have done auditory, you have done visual, and you have actually done kinesthetic. And then for you, the parents, by the time you understand your learning style, by the time you will not be so frustrated, because in my first part I talked about homework, I think last week, how to get your children to do homework with ease, which I say is not really easy. But then when you understand the learning style, if it's a visual learner, for instance, your child is a visual learner trying to do homework and the TV is on in cartoon, that child cannot concentrate. So you need to remove those things that will distract the child and then bring in, activity that you can have a board and the child is doing probably fraction. You say, okay, now I draw the circle. Are you looking at me? I draw the circle, visual. He's saying it. And that's why even those of you who have lesson teachers come to your house, make sure you have a space where they learn, where you have created for learning. Make sure you have a board, because your child could just be a visual learner, and then the teacher is just coming to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and go, and you pay that heavy money at the end of the month. You've wasted it. So have a board if you understand your, and then of course for almost every whatever you must have a board, so that at least let there be some demonstration. So knowing your child learning style will help you to ease frustration from you as a parent. How do you even know this learning style? Observation. Like you all know, I have a baby that is 6 months old. Already I'm observing her. I'm seeing that she's visually inclined, she's auditory inclined. She's just 6 months old though, but I'm already observing her learning style. Because whenever anything passes, my daughter is alert. Whenever something pops, rays of color, so she's already, so I can see that she's going to be a visual learner when she eventually starts going to school. And then I can see that her sense of hearing is very, very sharp. Little noise, she picks it up. Little noise, she picks it up. So I might not be 100% correct, but I'm just telling you that this is a 6-month-old baby I have, but I'm already studying her. Now, I have a 17-year-old son who is in the university. When he was a baby, my son is a hands person, he's a doing person. So, they wanted to frustrate him in school at some point, because my son is not the type who wants to talk, but he wants to just do. But I had to pick up things. I have to get my son, into a mesh, immersion. Yeah, that's what the word I was looking for. I had to immerse him into activity that he's doing, and that was how my son's academics improved. How did he improve? Because I immersed him into basketball, which was what he loves doing. He loves sports. And then I looked for the sport that he loves most, which was basketball. And I immersed him in basketball. So with that, he developed his confidence. And so because I already knew this was learning style, okay, Daniel, if you're going to play basketball, you do your homework, do one here, then you go outside, go and bounce ball a little, come back and continue. And then you just got to him. My son will finish, he will go and bounce ball a little, he will come back again, and then, voila, we had peace. Then my second child, who is 14, going on 15, she's actually an auditory learner, reading, and then also reading and writing. So I didn't have much issue with her. So hers was just, anyhow you give it to her, if the child talks, she knows it, she will get it. But you see, my third child, she was purely a visual learner. She's purely a visual learner. She's 10 years old, and it has to be something she's seeing. She's got to see for her to understand. So while I teach, even at home, during the lockdown, when we had all those lessons at home during the lockdown, when I was teaching her fraction, I had to get apple. We are cutting the apple, say, okay, this is half, this is quarter, this is 1/6, and so on. So I had to do things that are hands-on for her. I had to buy charts and so on. See, parents, it might take a lot, but let me just tell you the truth. If you get this thing, no teacher will frustrate your child again. No school will frustrate your child. If you can observe your child. I know this is not just exhaustive. You can't really exhaust knowing your learning style just by observation. You could have worksheets, and all, but I don't have that here. But even if you can use observation method to key into your child's learning style, I'm telling you, no school will frustrate your child. You just walk to that school and tell the teacher, this is how my child learns. Please incorporate it in your activity. And then even you, when you're doing it, because like I say, there is no way your child can learn well in school without you, the parental involvement. So when you are even involved in it, you know how the child learns, and you'll be able to give your child the best. So this is just a quick video. I'll catch you again next week. Thank you, Ngozi Alichi, for joining me. She said understanding our children's learning style is critical in their milestones. Very true. That's a school leader there, Thank you, Chibundu Chidozie Okorie, for watching. Thank you, Chinyere Chile, for watching. Thank you, Favor Chinenye Ezeribe Okpala Oba. Look at the one I'm calling like a Yoruba girl. Shame on me. Okpala Oba, thank you for watching. Thank you, Mimido Achepa, for watching. Thank you, Ebuka Obi, for watching The King of Boys. Thank you, Ruth Uwaifo, for watching. Thank you so much. Next week, I'll bring you another parent support tip for your child's education. I'm here to just support parents. That is my work. You know, there are so many people supporting schools to achieve results. Me, I'm here to support you parents so that you'll be able to get the best from your children's academics. It's not just about paying that big million naira. Your involvement must be there. Thank you, and catch you next week again. Bye.